I knew you're going to be wearing red, brother. I just knew.
I feel it. I can feel RedStone right now.
Every picture I've seen of you, you wear red. Is this the uniform? Is this like the Steve Jobs inspired, brand aligned uniform?
Hello, everyone. Yes, it is. I believe in crypto, we have really small target group. So creating this consciousness of the branding and, the color is actually pretty important. So yes, RedStone is red.
We like yellow, but maybe we're not embodying it full enough here, Josh. We got to get our yellow suits out, blend into the background. All right, Marcin, you are a co-founder at RedStone, which looks like you guys probably touch a lot of the apps people use, but are probably like Josh and I in that we don't really know what exactly you do. And so we're excited to have you on today to answer that simple question and probably a few more complicated ones. Curious, what was the gap in the world that you saw that made you want to lead RedStone into it?
Yeah, sure. Happy to start there. RedStone is a blockchain oracle, top 3 globally right now. We started in late 2020. And Oracle is a system that powers majority of DeFi. If you're using lending market, perp dex, CDP stablecoin, or many other like logic on chain, it's highly probable that it relies on an Oracle to deliver accurate price feed or other type of data. A good example was 10th of October, like recent liquidation crash, where about $20 billion of positions were liquidated. All of those liquidations are executed based on the price that is delivered by an oracle of some sort. And RedStone and many other oracles aggregate data from plenty of prices to ensure that the price that we deliver is first accurate, but too robust, so we don't have any glitch in the methodology. And right now, we protect over $10 billion of value across over 180 clients, such as Morpho, Euler, Spark, Compound, and so on more than 110 chains. And yeah, it's rolling pretty well.
I mean, I think when you say Oracle, probably a lot of people's minds go to Chainlink. So I'm curious about the comparison there.
Of course, Chainlink is the biggest oracle in the market. They've done a lot of good for the industry. They helped to bootstrap DeFi in 2020, but such an important vertical as oracles naturally needs more diversity. One, just so you don't have a single point of failure, but two, also we are like an innovator. We are a team that has very strong technical team. Majority of our team members are engineers or product people, and this is where we excel in. So capturing the innovation. That's the reason new teams choose RedStone many times. An example, Securitize chose RedStone as the official oracle for tokenized market money funds like BlackRock, Biddle, Vanek, Vibil, tokenized private credit from Apollo, from Hamilton Lane. We created the fastest push oracle on the market called RedStone Bolt that is used across a Mega ETH and is going to be live on Monad. So I would say many oracles are needed on the market. Chainlink is this big established player that naturally is extremely important, but we are this more nimble, tech-driven company with a motto that is very simple, but I would say extremely powerful: by builders for builders, because oracles at the end of the day is a product that developers are using. Like they are integrating that oracle into their systems.
Can we dive into the innovation component here? Because I think you did a very good job of explaining very simply the job to be done here, but it's not clear to me where are the big frictions, the challenges, where do we need to apply innovation to that simple job to be done?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's start that RedStone is the first modular oracle. That means that we divided the flow into a couple of modules. That makes it easier to implement new technologies as they arise. In crypto, the innovation cycle is probably like, 30 days? Like after 30 days, things get obsolete and people go to a new meta. But that's actually true that new technologies come in very fast. And in order to make sure your system is not becoming a legacy, you need to innovate over and over. So when we were designing it in late 2020 and early 2021, we knew from the beginning that it has to be adjusted for innovation as we go. So that's the reason we can deliver those new products so quickly. When Chainlink was designed in 2017, then only Ethereum was in the game. So even the concept of an L2 was not that much present. Like people were talking about it, but nothing was actually deployed. So it just showcases that we were built in a different era. And we knew from the get-go that when developers come to us with a new challenge, for example, Mega ETH came to us and told us, hey, we are going to produce blocks that are 10 milliseconds or even lower. Can you create an oracle that delivers data to every block? And we delivered that. The RedStone Bolt, like the lowest we've gone with RedStone Bolt is 2.4 milliseconds. And to give you understanding, it's over 400 updates a second. It's more than a mind can comprehend. And those are the kind of like engineering challenges we are facing like week to week.
How do oracles fit into the prediction market landscape? I think Polymarket notoriously has, resolution issues with, using UMA and 9 people who often have incentives in the game making wrong decisions. So how do oracles fit into the prediction markets?
That's a good question. Right now, there are 2 biggest players in the globe, Polymarket and Kalshi. Kalshi has a resolution that is centralized. Like every market has like a CFTC approved like contract, and the resolution is done by Kalshi. Whereas Polymarket has UMA, as you mentioned, for the resolution on chain. Which solution is better is a question. I wouldn't say there is like a right or wrong answer. Definitely, when you have a centralized resolution, it's easier to create a less prone to manipulation system, right? Because, hey, they are legally bound to resolve it according to the contract, how it was structured. Whereas in Polymarket, it's more like how people can vote, for example, with their tokens. Personally, I believe those kind of edgy markets should not be available, like because then it gives a lot of room for bad actors just to manipulate, as you mentioned. But look, prediction markets is a young industry in a sense that it's young in terms of a success. It's been around for months and years, but people got truly interested in that only past couple of weeks or months. And I do believe there are going to be innovators in the space that will be bringing like more of that logic on chain, but not so prone, for example, to those kind of edge cases where people lose money because no one knows how the market should be resolved, or someone forced a resolution that is not necessarily according to the objective truth in the world.
So I'm really curious about, I guess, the business model for RedStone. I know you guys have a token. Looks like it's doing pretty well as the world kind of goes sideways here on crypto. I'm curious, I guess, the business model, how the token fits into what you're doing here.
Of course, as you can imagine, the name of the token is red as our color. So we keep everything like according to the branding. We launched it in March this year, 2025. It's live on Coinbase, Binance, Upbit, Revolut, and many other places. The role of the token is that data providers stake so that they can provide data into our system and earn rewards. Right now in red tokens, but in the future, part of the revenue is going to be streamed to those data providers. And the holders of the token can delegate the tokens to data providers they choose, and then earn also part of reward, so that you have this flywheel of people delivering more valuable data and protecting the whole ecosystem. And then the more users are using RedStone, the more revenue is streamed that way.
I'm curious where you see the big growth opportunities looking forward. I imagine the kind of perpification of everything in HIP-3 is maybe one, but curious what that kind of broadly looks like from your eyes.
Of course, one stream is this highest efficiency and lowest latency oracle, the RedStone Bolt. And in the Q4, most likely, we are going to see the mainnet launch of Mega ETH and Monad. Both of those networks are going to get that product. We are powering almost 100% of dApps on testnet on Mega ETH because we are extremely dedicated. And right now, it's like an ecosystem that we're spending a lot of resources and time to support the builders like Euphoria, GTE, Valhalla, and so on, many protocols that are building over there. And Hyperliquid is an ecosystem we did a bet already earlier in the year, and we continue on delivering there. 99% of dApps that are using oracles on Hyperliquid on Hyper EVM, which is L1 of Hyperliquid, is using RedStone. And HIP-3 is this innovation that allows anyone to create a perp market, a new one. So you set up the market. So what are the assets? You set up parameters like, for example, leverage levels and so on. And you decide on the oracle as well. So you have an option. Either you build an oracle yourself, which is essentially a very hard task to do. And soon we are going to announce a product, like a dedicated one for HIP-3 markets from RedStone that is adjusted just for that. We've been testing it already for over 2 months. It's working very well. We have design partners in the background. and the news is going to come fairly soon. So Hyperliquid is definitely an ecosystem that we have been putting a lot of effort in, and we'll continue to do so.
I'm curious your take just on the progress of crypto more generally. You sit at a very interesting space in the tech stack where you get to see a lot of the flows, I guess, in some way, the growth, new things early. You sort of look out 6 months to a year. What are you either excited or disappointed about in the future?
I'm extremely excited about fintech companies embracing crypto like full stack. And this is mainly because of the one stablecoin era. Like stablecoins have become like a kind of is becoming kind of a mainstream thing. And two, tokenization of treasury bills, of private credit, of cash and carry strategies, plenty of other traditional financial products that are just more available on chain and have deep liquidity with high yield. So those two, I believe, will push every fintech company to become a crypto company within, let's call it 3 years, right? Those that are not going to embrace that will just use more expensive rails and effectively are going to be pushed out from the business. And we've seen it. I'm from Poland, and Revolut is the excellent example. Like banks were able to offer what Revolut delivered in the end. They just didn't want to. And right now everyone is doing that because they were just pushed to, like, people just were going to Revolut. And it's going to be the same in the crypto race. So I'm extremely bullish on those fintechs offering crypto products with abstracted away the complexity of setting up a wallet, having a seed phrase and whatsoever. So bringing the goodies without the difficulty of using that technology essentially. But we as the pros still need to improve the technology because setting up a wallet still is a painful experience, to be honest.
I'm curious if you're seeing any kind of new emergent categories of financial products. I imagine people with new weird ideas are coming to you asking for, you know, new data, new oracles that they can leverage. So curious if you're seeing anything there.
Yeah, so recently we announced that Kalshi partnered with RedStone, and we are right now bringing on chain the information from Kalshi. So for example, how the market was resolved, or what are the odds, what is the open interest, and so on. So Kalshi effectively is a Web2 system, and we deliver the data on chain. This is the first phase. But there are going to be more interesting phases. For example, if you have a big market that is long enough, in example, elections in the United States, that's a market that opens very early and grows towards the resolution, right? And the positions that are on that market can be used as collateral, can be used as financial products. So I imagine in the next couple of weeks and months to see more and more of tokenization of bets on, for example, Kalshi and Pori market that are going to be used in DeFi at large, because it's another financial instrument that is important and correlated many times with financial markets, right? Because how you're going to bet is not necessarily correlated with the interest rates or whatever else. And the markets, financial markets at large globally, always look for uncorrelated bets because then you can create like a very well-balanced portfolio, let's say.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, man. Well, I think we have to leave it there, but I'm getting infrastructure pilled, Josh.
Me too.
You know, because
Yeah.
I think increasingly this clash between, I mean, I guess we're all probably just going to call it fintech at some point. Fintech 3.0, I don't know what number we're on right now, right? But TradFi meets crypto, the fundamental benefits of transparency and speed and trust coming from the underlying infrastructure. And yeah, I mean, we were talking to John from Uno and PartyDAO earlier this week. He was just making the strong argument that we are just now entering the installation phase of crypto. And I think looking through the lens of just the scale of the markets that we have to go and conquer here, I think he's very right. So it sounds like you're on the same page there. Appreciate you sharing more about oracles, man. I feel like Josh's lead question, everybody talks about Chainlink, but maybe that's the MS-DOS, and now we're in the iOS era here.
Well, Chainlink is going to stay over here, but we will keep innovating. And I believe, again, that is going to be a couple of players in the market. I will leave you with that. Data is the new oil, you know it. And oracles is this one infrastructure piece that deals about data and crypto and DeFi. So in my opinion, that category will be growing and just needs a lot of players to sustain the needs of the builders at large. Thanks a lot for being over here, and follow RedStone and myself on Twitter, and I'll be happy to come back one day again.
Appreciate it, Marcin. Have a good one.
Peace, man.
Thank you.